Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. I'm always sharing my testimonies how good God is. A few years ago, the Lord told me to go to a certain city, and I headed out, not knowing where I was going. I just put it in my GPS and went into the city. I drove around and I didn't like what I see. I saw a lot of cows and grass and just looked very uncivilized and unproductive. And I thought to myself, I could never leave from where I was to go to live here. So I spent the day just kind of driving around, checking out the town. And was a Sunday, so I decided to go to church. And I kid you not, almost everybody that came into the church that morning was in a wheelchair except those who were pushing the wheelchair. And I thought God must have made a mistake because there's nothing for me in this city. So I went back home and a little disappointed, wondering if I really heard from God or did my mind speak to me. 3 or 4 years later, I was in a shopping center, just driving into the mall, shopping center, and I came out and I was praying and I said, Lord, I need a house. I need a place to live. I'm in a storage for a few months now, and I told my landlord I'm going to be leaving, and if you don't do something for me, I'm going to move my stuff back into my house where I was, which was an apartment. And as I stepped out of my vehicle and I was heading into the mall, I saw a lady heading into the mall and turned back like she forgot something. So she was like touching her heart, holding her heart, and she was pointing to me. She said, I have to speak to you, I have to speak to you. So I walked up to her and I said, are you okay? Are you finding your way okay? Because the road was a bit fenced off. So, like they were Barbara Green in the road. And so they had blocked off some of the place. So I'm saying, are you finding your way okay? Because I thought she was lost or something. And she said, no, 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 no. I have to sell you a house. And the long and short of the story, she brought me right back into that city. I saw a beautiful house. I wanted to buy it, but it didn't work out. And so I went back on my own a few months later. And while I was there, I heard the voice of God spoke to me, say, go to the city over the weekend and look a house for yourself. So I drove there and I drove around the city. It was a Sunday again. And I got up in the morning early, about 3 o'clock. I was in a hotel room and I turned on my phone, and the man was preaching, and it was as if he was preaching right to me. He said, "If you trust God, you got to step out by faith, and the universe will bow to you. And if you trust God, you got to trust Him without a backup." I was trusting God, but I was waiting for a sign. I was waiting to see, like, I wanted a house, but I was waiting to see the house come through before I turn in my lease. And they gave me 60 days instead of 30. And so that was a bit challenging because I'm like, what am I going to do? It was just a challenging thing for me. But the pastor was preaching that morning, and he said, you need to trust God without seeing a sign, without seeing a proof. And so I went to church the morning, and the pastor said the exact same thing. He said, you say you are healed, and it's like if you're sick and you're still seeing the physical sickness, you don't believe it. You have to believe it before you see it. So I went back to the hotel room that afternoon, and I wrote my lease and said, I'm giving you notice that in 60 days I'm going to end my lease. I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't know where I was going to go. If the house didn't come through, if I didn't find a house over the weekend, I was doomed. And I looked Friday, I looked Saturday, and I was looking Sunday morning, and I didn't get anything. And I called a few places that I saw online. Nobody answered. So I said, okay, it is what it is. I'm going to go back home. I don't know how I'm going to survive the next 60 days, but I put in my lease. I'm going to leave. If I have to live in a hotel or a shelter, I'm just going to leave. And what do you know, that same Sunday evening, someone called me. They told me they missed my call Saturday, and they want to know if I was still looking for a house. I said yes. The long and short of the story, because I don't have much time, I went to look at the house that same Sunday evening. By Monday, Tuesday, I was in a contract, and the rest is history. God allowed me to get a house because I stepped out by faith, and I didn't have a backup plan, and I just went believing that God was going to make a way for me, and He did. So today I encourage your spirit, step out by faith without a backup plan. Burn your bridge and God will do the rest.